Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on my channel where today I will be doing my book haul for the month of August, and this month is forever going to be known as the month where Caroline proves she has no self-control, because I bought a lot more books than I was planning to this month. I ended up buying about 12 books, which is a lot, and I'm kind of trying to justify it by saying at least I've already read 14 this month. But it's still a lot and I am excited about them, so I'm just gonna get straight into this video. This first book is one that I picked up at a secondhand book fair that I went to, and it was only $2, so I don't really mind that it's the movie cover because I actually do really love the movie adaptation of this, and it's The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Chbosky, which is one of my favorite coming of age stories, and it made me cry so much when I read it a few years ago, and I'm thinking now that I own it, I might kind of use it as an excuse to reread the book, but I don't actually know when that will be. Next up, I got Nevernight by Kristoff, which is the first book in a series. I'm not actually sure if it'll be a trilogy or a longer series, but I'm still quite excited about it. This is the story of a young assassin who goes to this school to kind of become a better assassin and potentially become the best assassin, and there's all this drama and really dark mystery and intrigue, and I've already done a review of this book and I'll leave the link to that if you guys are curious, because I did really enjoy this and would recommend it. Next up, I got Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, Jack Thorne and John Tiffany, and I wasn't really that excited to read this, but I caved within like 2 days of it coming out because I'm weak. But this is the story of Harry's son Albus Severus going to Hogwarts and kind of having difficulty finding the same sense of belonging that Harry did, and there's all this conflict and drama, and it is a really good story. I will say that it is different to the original Harry Potter series, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. I did enjoy it, I just don't think it's necessarily canon with the other stories, if that makes sense. But again, I've done a full review of this and I'll just leave the link to that in case you guys are interested. Next up, we have The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone, which is actually what I'm reading and really enjoying at the moment. It's the story of a girl named Maddie who just graduated high school and wants to spend her last summer just having fun with her friends before she heads off to college, but then her grandma drops a bombshell that she's dying, she has cancer, and wants to take the family on this round-the-world trip as kind of a last hurrah, and then at the end they will go to a facility where grandma is able to die with dignity on her own terms, and it's just the story of this bizarre family going on a bizarre cruise, and at the end grandma is going to die, and it's already quite sad, and I'm really enjoying it. I will be reviewing it when I finish it, but I don't know if this is a book for everybody because it does deal with some kind of heavy stuff. Next up is The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan, which I bought kind of impulsively because it just sounds like a really cute and fun story. Basically, it takes place in this world where the earth has completely flooded, and there's a girl who lives on a traveling circus boat with a bear that she dances with, and then there's another girl who lives in a house in the middle of the ocean by herself, and when there's this kind of freak storm, their lives collide, and it just, like I said, it sounds like a really fun and entertaining story, so I'm not sure when I will get to it, but I think I will really enjoy it whenever I do. The next book I got is actually a comic book, and it's volume 4 of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and I just love this series. It's so incredibly entertaining. It's an amazing story about this family on the run in space, and at the same time as they have all these dramas, we're seeing what's happening in other parts of the world, and it's just so much fun. I love the art style, I love the humor, I love the characters, and I'm trying to pace myself reading this series because I don't want to catch up to it and then have to wait, but it's really hard to pace myself with it when it's so addictive. Next up, I got And I Darken by Kirsten White, which is the first book in a series. I think it's going to be a trilogy, but again, I'm not really sure. And this is a kind of dark fantasy that takes place in the Ottoman Empire, and we've got a badass female protagonist, and I don't really know heaps about it. I just know that I'm excited to read it because I've been hearing absolutely amazing things from a lot of people that I really trust. They're saying it's got an amazing main character, a really intriguing story, it's kind of dark but also has this really great humor to it, and I'm super excited to read this, so I'm thinking I will read it either towards the end of this month or in September. Next up, I got Frankie by Siobhan Plaza, which is a young adult book by an Australian author, and I haven't really heard that much about this book, but it's the story of Frankie, who is this kind of angry and conflicted teenager who's having a lot of trouble at school and with the police and with her family life, and then someone shows up claiming to be her half-brother, and her life just kind of takes this completely different turn that's really interesting, and she sets about discovering herself and discovering her family and all those sorts of things. I'm quite keen to read this one, hopefully soon, but with me, we never know. Next up we have The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, and I think it's an ongoing series, but I don't really know because I've kind of tried to avoid reading stuff or watching stuff about this book because I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to go into it completely blind. All I really know is that it's about this young boy who is kind of a magician and eventually grows to be the most notorious wizard in the world or something, and he goes to, you know, school for magic and does all these questy things and stuff. See what I mean? I totally don't know what it's about. I just know that it's high fantasy, it's about magicians, and I really love that. And I've heard that it's one of the most beautifully written fantasy books out there, so I am really excited to read it, but it's huge and kind of daunting, so I'm not entirely sure when that'll be. The final 3 books that I bought this month are Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire, all by Sarah J Maas, and this is the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series, and I've already read these and I absolutely devoured them. I really love this series and I'm so excited to continue it, and the new book comes out next month and I've already pre-ordered it, and I am excited because it's fantasy, and I think Sarah J Maas is incredibly clever with the way that she writes her characters and the twists and turns of the story. I just think it's beautifully written and I love them so much and definitely recommend them. That brings us to the end of my book haul though, guys. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them down in the comments because I am very curious. But that's it for this video. I upload videos Wednesdays and Saturdays, so be sure to like this one and subscribe to my channel and tune in on those days for more bookish goodness. Toodaloo!